The Passionate Leader, because leadership without passion is just a title.
Meeting. We got a collapse in the garage. Get the squad back equipment in here. We got an I-beam gone to a firefighter.
Get that out, urgent, transmit a second along.
This is where titles end and leadership begins. Ask yourself this. Are you aggressive about the job or just aggressive with your mouth? Are you holding the standard or just talking about it? And are you training to win or training just to check a box? Today, we sit down with Kelly McGowan, a Baltimore City firefighter, the host of the Fireman podcast, and founder of Down and Dirty Fire Training. He has 12 years in both volunteer and career houses. He's the author of the book, The Aggressive Standard. Kelly is a man who refuses to let our culture slide. He believes in the basics, in standards, and more importantly, in doing it right. He's dealt with weak leadership, he's learned from it, and he leans on mentors, faith, and family to stay grounded when the job gets heavy. So here is the question. Are you building a winning service or just wearing a patch? Let's get to it. Welcome to the show, Kelly McGowan. What's going on, my man?
Glad to be here.
Yeah. Thanks for hopping on. It's couldn't have been a better day for us to do it because I was off, so it works out absolutely perfect. So for those very few people that do not know who you are, if you want to kind of walk through how you got into the fire service and all that good stuff, kind of give the baby without the 9 months, as I like to say.
All right. So I started in high school. I always wanted to join the fire department. They had a junior program, or an explorer program. You know, everybody calls it a different thing. But I was too involved with sports and like student government and other clubs in high school to have time to volunteer because I was trying to, make my college application look good because I was going to go to some great college or whatever. And you're always told, you got to do all this extra stuff to look good. So I started going to college at a local university for athletic training, finally started doing the volunteer stuff. And my first volunteer company was pretty busy. No EMS, all fire and vehicle accidents. We were cutting a couple cars a week, going to fires a couple times a week. They ran over 100 fires every year and still do. It's been like that for 30 or 40 years.
Yeah.
So it's hard not to get bit by the bug and love going to fires when you start off somewhere like that. Before I knew it, I was skipping class or staying out all night on fires, not going to school. I was like, I think I want to be a fireman as a job. So I looked into how I needed to go about that. And in this area in southeastern North Carolina, I live in the largest county in the state. There's 38 fire departments, and only one of those is career. There's a lot of other rural counties beside us. There's just not a lot of career departments. So I got hired with the one in our county in Lumberton. It's a great place to learn, get a good start, pretty busy. They have two major interstates that run through there, so you still go to a lot of accidents. Wanted to go somewhere to challenge myself. I always wanted to be a big city guy. So I left there, went to Horry County down in South Carolina for about 5 years. Loved it when I left. Never thought I would leave there. I got to a spot where I didn't have to ride the ambulance anymore, which is great. And then the Raleigh Fire Department, capital of North Carolina, did their first ever lateral hire, and they dropped their residency requirement of 90 miles. So I put in on the very last day you could put in because I told myself I wasn't, and went through the process and got hired. And I was finally a big city fireman. And then my goal was always Baltimore. Even in college for athletic training, I wanted to work for the Orioles or the Ravens as an athletic trainer. Finally got the call to go to Baltimore once I was working in Raleigh. So here I am. Got my dream job, dream assignment. I'm assigned to the company and the firehouse I wanted to go to when I applied. So couldn't be happier.
Yeah, brother. It all like that's fantastic. So for our listeners, if Lumberton sounds familiar from our guest, we did have a guest on who speaks very highly of you for what it's worth. And that was Chief Eddie Cox a few weeks ago, and who is down in Lumberton. It's neat to see how some of our paths and guests are starting to kind of intermingle, and it really just shows how small the fire service really is. Yeah, we are a big world and a big service. Boy, we really do cross over a lot. And you hit something really hard on the, not having to ride the ambulance. I think, um, do you, being up in Baltimore now, do you guys have to ride the bus and stuff too, or is that a separate agency that, in the city?
It's separate, but we still have to ride it. We have our own
Okay.
EMS division under the umbrella of the fire department. Um, like every other EMS agency, they have staffing issues, and it's backfilled with the junior firefighters who are in the medic rotation.
Gotcha. Fair
It's
enough.
it's part of it. It's a lot better now. The chief changed it to where every new person has to ride for so many hours. I got put into that. I had to do my time, and since then, people aren't getting detailed nearly hardly any to the
Mm.
ambulance. So it's working out.
No, that's awesome. What fire service in general, were you more of a, do you like engine ops or truck ops more?
Big truck guy now. I love truck work, but it wasn't always that way.
All
I
right.
used
So what brought it around?
um so you mentioned Eddie. He was one of the guys that made me actually like truck work. I never told him this. I don't know if he knows. I'm sure he'll hear it when he listens. But I hated truck work. I hated putting up ladders, going through the roof, and it's because I wasn't any good at it. And I got to a spot where I was riding downtown on ladder one with him and Lieutenant Emmett at the time, who is also a chief now. And they taught me some things, showed me some things, and really showed me the importance and the love of truck work. Things that I felt I wasn't good at, they worked with me towards. And
Mm.
like they always say, you work on your weaknesses until they're your strength. And I think that's what happened. I just got to the point where I loved it, and then became real passionate about victim search, which is it's everybody's job, but primarily a truck company function. So
That's so true. There's a lot to be said about that. I think he must have saw something that you didn't, or something. We all have mentors that kind of can step up and do that for us and kind of give us that chance and, invest in us. So it's cool to see, a reward out. Uh, Now, are you on a truck up in Baltimore now, or do you run the engine?
I'm on a truck primarily. I'm permanently assigned to a truck, but you take details and overtime shifts on the engine.
Awesome. Um, so geographically, I mean, I know that Baltimore is close enough to where you're at right now. I mean, how long of a commute do you have into work?
So during the week, I average 6 to 7 hours. On the weekend, I can do it in about 5.5.
That's one way?
Yeah, one way.
Oh, dude, bless you, dude. I don't know if I could ever go. Although that gives you plenty of time to really drop stress from the job. There's a lot to be said about that. I mean, I go on my commute to work is 5 minutes if I get stuck behind a tractor. So it's really not that bad. But yeah, that's cool to be able to see somebody that you set your heart to it, um and really you blaze the trail, really. I mean, honestly, a lot of people can fight their whole lives to try to get where they're going. So it's inspiring to see how you really set your mind to what you wanted to do, and you were able to make it happen. I mean, we like training, so that's why this is kind of how I found how our paths sort of crossed through, social medias, was with some stuff with Down and Dirty. What one, I mean, once you kind of give the brief overview let's dive into it, actually. What was the reason for starting Down and Dirty, and what did you kind of see that the service was missing that you knew you guys could kind of fill the void?
So I got real passionate about training once I went to Horry County. I was assigned to Squad 18, and that's one of the premier houses for Horry County. You always get new people, ride-alongs, and everything at this firehouse. And we were getting new people to train up, whether they stayed with us or shipped out to another firehouse. They came there because we were busy and we were a squad, so we ran every type of call. And even though I was still new there, training other people, getting new people in, and we had a good crew there who was big on training. I really like seeing other people, like see the light bulb go off pretty much, and other people. And one of the promotional requirements is having the Instructor 1 certification. So I did that, and I had no desire to promote. I still have no desire to promote ever, but I had it just in case. And then my local community college where I took my classes was really needing instructors. So I went to qualification school to where I could teach firefighter 1 and 2 classes for certification. Started doing that with the local academy here, then started going to some other places. And like, I really enjoy teaching and passing on and sharing knowledge. The name for Down and Dirty Fire Training. So I put in for FDIC a few years ago and got accepted. And that and a couple other places, I was like, I should get a name because I would have people help me. I didn't want to just be me. I'm not a big me guy. And the name came from a video for a RIT drill, and there's a strap. I forget the name of it. People tell me all the time, but I forget about it because I think it has its place, but it's not in my gear pocket. It's the one that's like the red strap around the head, yellow around the arms, green around the legs, or some order that way. And it was taking a long time to put the strap on the down firefighter with no smoke, no gloves on, just putting it on. And I was like, who has time for this in a RIT scenario? It's like there's so many other things, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with the ARS strap or any of the listeners. I think it's one of the best things on the market right now. Tim Anderson created it. He's became a friend of mine. We talk. He helps teach some of the rescue RIT classes for Baltimore, actually, that they put on. I mean, you can do so many things with that strap. And then just dirty drags, using your body to move somebody, even somebody 160 pounds, we've made move a 300-pound person. Like, there's techniques for it. It's not always about strength. You may not move them far, but you can start moving them until help gets there. Yeah. And I was just, it's a down and dirty situation. You be down and dirty in your tactics and get them out. And I was like, oh, down and dirty fire training. Here we go.
That's awesome. It's so being on, how did FDIC go for you? I mean, the presentation good? What did you present? I guess is probably the first question.
So my class was multi-generational collaboration, bridging the generational gap through leadership.
Okay.
It was accepted, and the Women in Fire conference has a day during FDIC. It was accepted for that too. And I ended up declining a couple months prior because I got hired in Baltimore City, and there's a strict academy schedule for attendance. And they're not going to let a new person be off. You have to have a legit reason to be off work. And it was go to Baltimore City Fire Academy or go to FDIC. And my dream was the Fire Academy, or not the Fire Academy, but Baltimore. So
sure,
I declined, and hopefully one day I'll get accepted to go back.
Dude, it shows priority. I love the concept. I think that in and of itself that's really where we're missing a lot in the fire service, is the generational gaps. So, I mean, without giving there's no sense of giving the whole program here right now, but I mean, once you kind of, walk through what the program is, where you saw, I love to see where people's minds go with some certain things. So, where you saw what multi-generational, what the program was for and stuff like that.
Yes. So working in the larger departments, and especially one as diverse as Horry County, you have, 20, 30, 40-year guys, you have 18-year-old kids, and you have people from New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio. You have people from North and South Carolina, every now and then some from Georgia, Oklahoma. So you have people from diverse backgrounds, different ages, and all of them are complaining about the other. And I talked with a few friends who are around the same age and time of service as me, and we were like kind of the middle child in all of this. And we would find ourselves with both sides, the older and younger generations, coming to us for advice because we related more to the opposite than what they did. So I put something together, did some research, and a lot of it is really knowing people's personalities and learning styles, and then knowing how to talk to people, having hard conversations. And I did some research, read a few books on this stuff, started practicing what I was learning, and started seeing the results of it. So I decided to throw it into a presentation, and actually presented it a few other places. Here locally, I went to San Diego for the Women in Fire International in 2024, and then presented it there too. I haven't done it since then. I've kind of moved more towards, I felt that was too like officerish of a class for me.
Sure,
And
sure.
I kind of slid more into the tactical role because I feel we need more tactics being put out and more focus on doing the job rather than handling people around the firehouse.
That is a very valid point. I think now did you move away from it, and not, when I say move away, not like threw it away type thing, but like, transitioned to a different aspect because you felt, not being an officer was a, or was it just because you saw the serious need for getting more tactically smart firefighters in the fire service?
More of the tactics. My friends group, I have probably 2,693 different group chats with firefighters from different places. So, and we're always talking about stuff and you're seeing stuff and everybody's dealing with the same things.
Mm.
And at the time I was in my life and career, I wanted to go more tactical stuff, more culture stuff, more standards and expectations rather than, I don't want to say political stuff to keep
Sure.
you out of HR, but
Yeah, bureaucratic stuff. Yeah, I get you. I hear you. That's the worst part about leadership, honestly, is the amount of butt that you have to kiss. There's a lot of backside smooching that has to happen higher up that you get into the realm of things. Dude, this is great stuff. So one of the other really cool things that I've seen you be able to put together are your symposiums and stuff like that. Did so obviously it the way I understand correctly is you started with Down and Dirty first, and then you started working into these. I mean, what again was the, where's your why for the conferences and stuff like that?
so in the area I am, southeastern North Carolina, northeastern South Carolina. Did I say that right? So I'm 20 minutes, 20 miles from the South Carolina line. I worked in South Carolina, have a lot of friends down there. The Carolina Fire Service is very tight knit, even though it's a large area. You know people all over the place, and like my main group chat, there's a couple up in the Mid Atlantic in the group chat, but it's mostly all over North and South Carolina, from the Low Country to the Upstate to the Grand Strand region, and even up all the way up to Raleigh in North Carolina. So there's a big gap for training where we live because in the middle of the states, your eastern side is full of departments that are career and have training. The western sides do because there's more municipalities there. So a lot of the departments in the middle, if they are a career department, are low staffing or volunteers, and there's just not a lot of training made readily available to us. So that's where it started. The one we did in Bennettsville, actually for like 2 years wanted to do one and tried planning one in the county I live in, and something always came up or something always got in the way. And then we're in the group chat with Lee and John from Fat Babies and Uncle Wayne from the Firefighters Chalkboard. John said, "Let me check on something." Then 30 minutes later, I get a phone call. "Hey man, I got us a venue. Like, if you really want to make this happen." I was like, "Yeah, let me call you right back." And all those guys already had agreed to speak. We talked about a date already, just flirting around with the idea. And it fell into place. And a guy came 3 hours from North Augusta, South Carolina, which borders Augusta, Georgia, to this conference. And him and his crew really enjoyed it. He came up to me at the conference, asked how we could do the same thing down in his area. And that's the one that's coming up. And really credit to him, man. He did a lot of work that I would have to do, and probably did a lot of it better than what I did. Because he knows a lot of the local people and local businesses. He got them to sponsor. It's in the Augusta Green Jackets minor league baseball stadium, so that's going to be pretty cool. Really good speakers coming in. A couple of the same ones from Bennettsville, a couple new ones that have a really good reputation in our area that work at some pretty aggressive departments. So it's going to be a good time.
That's this upcoming weekend, right? Or is it later at the end of February? The 21st, yeah. I did everything I could to try to make, open my calendar to get down there, dude, even just to literally spectate, because it's so cool to see stuff like this, because I think what you're hitting, and you hit the nail on the head, right? There is a need for it. And there are areas, New England has a few, but they're very, very limited in conferences. And we started looking into the bigger ones, and sometimes they're just not financially feasible. I felt that, and there's just more bang for the buck, truthfully, I think sometimes in the small. So you are 100% onto it with that. Um, Looking deeper into the future, are there other ones that we're looking to have, or is this sort of, we're going to get through this one that's coming this weekend, and then um, get back to the drawing board for another one?
So both of the ones that or the one coming up and the one we did, we have talked about doing it like an annual thing. Hopefully that happens. We may do some more in other places, but there's a lot of conferences already in the state, but just not close to us. And I don't want to put too much out and not get interest, but it's working right now. We do want to transition those into being like one time of the year is lecture. Another time of year, we're going to do a hands-on conference with the same thing. And this one coming up and the one we did previously, both are low cost. If you look what ours cost compared to some other ones you can go to.
Very much so, yeah.
That money pays for the instructors to get there, like gas, hotels, and everything. And then the leftover money is split and goes to like the Firefighters Association that sponsors it or co-hosts with it.
Yep.
So we were able to donate $765 to the PD Firefighters Association. I'm not sure what. We had 50 people turn out, so that was good. We have 80 registered so far for this coming weekend, and the remaining money, is going to be split and donated to that Firefighters Association down there. And that's kind of another thing about our training company. There's so many people out there. If you want them to come speak for 2 hours, charge you several $1,000s plus a flight, plus a hotel. We didn't get into doing the training stuff to get rich. A lot of times we do classes for free, and if we charge anything, it's to cover our gas, hotel, and a meal, even for a weekend school. So our focus is keeping training available, not to get rich.
Amen, dude. There is a lot. I mean, in thousands is honestly, sometimes it feels like it's an understatement as far as the quantifiable amount of money. Because we've looked into some for our area, and I don't want to say disheartening, but it definitely is, I guess, inspiring, I should say, because you look at how hard it is for some small, because the ones that really need these kinds of trainings are the ones that really can't afford to bring in big name people. But truthfully, man, I love what you do. I think it's such a good message for the fire service that it doesn't revolve around the almighty dollar. It is 100% about getting the fire service to be better, and not about making, a salary or your entire pension on one weekend's program type thing. So I think it's fantastic what you've brought into the service. What to that, I mean, what kind of, as you guys work and you organize these things, what have you found or surmised that might be what's making them just so successful?
I think part of it is, one, it's the shiny new toy in town.
Okay, fair. Yep.
Another part of it is, we have something in our backyard. Like, this is for us. Our association, our locals are involved in this, pushing it out. Let's go be a part of it for the guys who are into the job and not on the job. And then one part is we do like door prizes and raffles and stuff. So you're not just paying money to sit here all day. Like, you might leave with some pretty cool equipment. You might win some boots. You might win a set of irons. It was like a 50-50 raffle, so you may come home with some money. And then you get good fellowship. There's a social, and like I say, firemen love to drink. So they go out and get together, get to meet other people and network. I think the biggest thing is probably the speakers. we tried to, like, it's cool to have some of these big name people come in, but there are a lot of people who are local or regionally, maybe not big names, but well respected names. Like, you can say a name and somebody may not know what they look like, but they know who the name is and they
Mm,
know their reputation and they want to come out. And some of it is like where these people work. They may not know who the person is, but they're from this department. They go to fires all the time. We know about their tactics. I want to hear what they have to say. Maybe I can bring something back to my department for how they operate. So I think having speakers is a big part of it too.
yeah, no, that's there's a lot to be said about it. I mean, now for all the work, right? I mean, there's definitely a lot to be proud about. Um, what have you found to be the most rewarding, of all of, whether it be, going into individual departments and providing training, or everything to for the couple of conferences that you have? What's the most rewarding thing for you?
Getting the feedback from the attendees or the students. So a couple years ago, with classes I teach, whether it's academy classes or a hands-on class I do, I started doing my own course evaluation sheets. And instead of making a checkbox where they just sign agree for all of them, it's an open-ended question and they have to
Yep.
answer it. And then on the same side, I fill out a form for each student, what you did good, what you should work on, and I always end it with a positive note for encouragement going
Mm.
forward to keep them bought into training and the fire service. And one of the best compliments I ever got was teaching an academy. I came in on, I think, the fifth class in the firefighter 1 and 2, and they had different instructors before. We had some good instructors, but some of them are older. Some of them are kind of out of touch with current tactics. They've been teaching so long and retired from, you know, actual firefighting. And the compliment I got was I brought the brotherhood to the class. So I come in, I don't just preach a lecture, I actually talk, interact with each student. I get what they want to know so I can cater to them, each department. When it
Mm.
comes time for lunch, we go eat lunch together. Just everything like you do in the firehouse. I try to bring it to the
Yeah.
class.
Have with the course evals, have you ever kind of got one that was a little bit more of a kick in the pants than you were expecting?
One, I haven't had any like negative or bad. One was
Mm.
kind of confusing at first, and I gave it a lot of thought for about 2 weeks. And then I did another class and was talking to the student about it, and we came to a resolution on it. And it wasn't a bad review. He was, I guess, I gave a little more attention to some other students who needed the extra attention, and he didn't get it. So he kind of felt like I was kind of leaving him out. And I had to explain to him, I was like, hey man, like, you're picking up stuff pretty good. These other students need a little more practice and a little more coaching. Like,
Sure.
if you want to be involved, like, show them before I step in, or if I'm teaching something with them, jump in and help them out. So that's going to build between you two for the rest of the
Mm.
academy. You never know, you may work together.
No, I have found a lot of value in, I don't want to say negative for me it's negative comments on social media and stuff like that, but I really like sometimes that brutally honest, hey, when you're on stage, say this, don't say that, or don't walk so fast back and forth. Make sure when you're teaching, you're not staring at the slides. And don't get me wrong, I'm a firm advocate of are sometimes the death of the classroom or a good lecture, because it not only handicaps the speaker, but at 100%, it takes away the attention of the audience to the speaker. They spend more time reading the slides. If somebody's just going to stand up there and point and read, generally speaking, most everybody can read. So, what's the purpose of the instructor at that point? Put the damn slideshow up on a timer and just hit the clicker, let it scroll the words, wait a few seconds, and then hit the next bullet point. So I say this, I do use PowerPoint when I present, but I try to keep, I mean, gosh, I'm going to be in Pennsylvania in April. And I think for the entire 6 to 8 hour day, I have 4 to 5 slides, and they're just pictures. There's nothing on them for words. I lied. There's a couple of slides that are to start off a new section. So we're going to do the lecture for 45 minutes to 50 an hour. Take a break for 10. Come back. But in each section is going to be broken down into building upon what the first section was and then making the fire serve, blah, blah, blah. So they're like title slides. But aside from the title slide, there's no words on any of the other slides because, one, I know for a fact that my comfort zone is to just turn my back on the audience, read the damn slide when they could have done it themselves. If that's the purpose, I could have just emailed them and there's no reason for anybody to be there. So that's awesome. What to the topic of teaching, what is, if you could only teach one thing, one topic the rest of your entire life, what would it be?
Search.
Boom. All right. Let's get to it. So I don't know if you were on the live last night when I think it was before there was a guest on the slide or the slide, a guest on the live last night. And their department only allows for left-handed oriented search. They don't even, no joke, dude. That like your reaction is exactly how I felt, but I think I might have been a little bit more pronounced, and I may have been vocal, like what in the heck are they?
I can imagine.
So so search. Let's talk about search because there's a lot of, we are, and we can blend this into talking about the book because I love the book. I love the fact that you were not afraid to use the word aggressive in the title because I think aggressive people try to make it sound like we're not doing shit smart, but we really are. Where search wise is the fire service just still royally messing it up and we are just so far behind the times?
Not doing one.
Okay, I like that. Go more on that. I think that there's more. There's deeper stuff there. What you got?
Man, this could be a 9-hour episode with me talking only about search. We have departments who don't search. They think we're the fire department. We're supposed to go there, spray water, and go home. And by spray water, I mean they show up, don't go inside. They spray everything from the outside, burn the people's house down completely, never do a search. And here locally in my county, numerous times over the last few years, have they gone back out there, or the sheriff's department gone out there later that day or a couple of days later because somebody was missing and they died in the fire. Like, that should not be happening.
No.
And that really makes me mad, especially around this area because I have a lot of family that lives here. What if it's my family's house? If it's my family's house, one, after I get bailed out of jail, I'm going to use the same lawyer to file a civil suit on every single person in the department and the department itself. It's going to be a mess. That's the biggest issue I see, are just people not doing searches. Then you have departments who try to do searches where the culture may not be good in this department, or they have old people, I don't want to say old people, seasoned people, 30, 40 years on the department who don't want to change the way they've always done it. And a newer, younger person comes along, they're on all these social media pages, they're reading magazines, they're reading books, they're into this stuff about, we need to search. Search is a priority. And they're taking these classes teaching you we should be out here searching. And they try and do stuff like that, but they don't know how to search properly. And that's how I came into searching, like being so passionate about it, as it's in my book. I don't remember, it's chapter 1 or 2. It's pretty early on. My first day ever going to a fire, we had 3 fires that day. The third one that night came in a little after midnight with a confirmed entrapment. I got assigned search. I've been on the department a few weeks, maybe a month. I have no idea how to do a search. I don't even know how to pull the hose the right way. I can pull it, we get water in it. I don't know good techniques to move hose. I barely know how to put my air pack and my mask and my hood on the right way. And here I am looking for somebody in a fire.
Mm.
And like I said in the book, I made it a point that night that I'm not going to be in this situation again, and I'm not going to have this feeling again of what can I do better, because I'm going to be the best I can at doing a search. And that just goes back to not having the training readily available, because in our area, search wasn't being taught. The college wasn't pushing it out. There weren't a lot of people out doing training like it is now. Social media still wasn't really big for putting information out like it is now.
Mm. What do you think kind of got us into this risk? I'm not the one that came up with this phrase, but I use it a lot because it really resonates well. And there's a risk averse versus risk aware in the fire service. From what you've seen, what has caused the fire service? I mean, I believe we're coming now more to a risk aware. And I think through mediums like, what you have and with the book, we're finally realizing that to be, again, an aggressive firefighter is not the same thing. It's not synonymous with an unsmart firefighter. But a lot of people, again, they see the word aggressive and they get scared because we have turned, or the fire service for a while was such a very risk averse. We would skip risk. Where do you suppose that thought process came from? And really, how can we get it back to being, where we are aware of the risk that we are taking, but we're making calculated decisions through education and stuff like that?
So back in the 50s and the 60s, maybe even into the 70s and 80s, a lot of departments still had a cowardice policy. And that's something you don't hear of now, because I guess that must be around the same time that HR started being a thing and people started getting hurt feelings. And if we bring back that cowardice policy of, you get a fire, you don't go inside, you don't put the fire out, you stand outside and hit it hard from the yard, you don't do a search, you don't do all these other things, you don't get a hydrant, you don't train. If you're a coward, you shouldn't be in the fire service.
Mm.
And I think taking that standard and those policies away is kind of what started us on the path we have. And then the other side of it is, it's the coolest job in the world. And people want to do it because it's cool. They don't want to do it to actually do the job.
Mm.
They want a solid paycheck with a retirement, benefits. They have a guaranteed schedule. So you have all those good things going with it. You get a cool T-shirt to wear around. Go get a cool tattoo. Get a discount, when you go to your local chicken fillet restaurant. But I think those people kind of get in the way, and those are probably the ones who are, I'll use the word scared to do these things, do the job.
You're spot on. I mean, and we're getting there. I believe we're starting to right the ship. I think people are realizing it. I also believe that through, positive peer pressure, at least in my opinion, because you're not wrong, dude. Our first job should be, it's victim rescue. That's what our first aspect of the job really has to be. And, you see a lot of times, and I can hear it sometimes even within my organization. Sometimes, we will victim profile, and it's not the victim profile in the sense of their demographics. It's a victim profile in what we assume from standing outside with $4,000+ of protective equipment on us, saying, well, yeah, that doesn't look survivable, so we're not going to go in. And we profile it. And I think where we need to really get to is, we can't verify that a building is unoccupied until we actually get our asses in there and figure it out. And it really, I've always had that firm belief, but it actually, oddly enough, there's a documentary that has nothing to do with the fire service right now on Netflix about a group of people who in the Providence Place Mall in Rhode Island had an apartment in a hidden cove in the mall
Watched it.
for years. And no joke, because Shawnee and I were watching it, and I'm like, geez, babe, like that immediately that proves that you can't verify. Even security didn't even know that they were there for how long. So that building ain't vacant until we say that it's vacant. And I think you're onto it. So search. Let's kind of talk some techniques. What is some of the older techniques we have, right? The old choo-choo train method. If you're holding on to you hold on to the guy in front of his boot, and the guy behind you does the same thing, and so on and so forth.
We don't teach that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Absolutely
so. Like, what are some down and dirty ways of doing a quick search, quick primary search of a room in a building, actually, I should say.
So I'm going to backtrack a little bit to the
Yeah,
word
please
aggressive
do.
and the title of the book, The Aggressive Standard. Being aggressive should be the standard. If your department wants to have standards, nobody, I'm not an aggressive firefighter. I perform my job to the standard that the community expects me to. That's not being aggressive. That's doing your job. So really nobody should be aggressive, because aggressive should be what we are already. It should be the baseline minimum standard. And part of being aggressive is being educated. So not just firefighter 1 and 2 classes. Pick up a book, even if it's a magazine, a video that's 30-second long on social media, something. Pick up something and try and learn. And there's a great thing that's out there that's free for everyone to look at called the Firefighter Rescue Survey. And it's actual numbers. It's not what people opinionate things to be on a fire. There's over 4,000 recorded rescues made by firefighters in the United States. And all of the numbers comes from that. And it's crazy to see how it started with a department in Oklahoma, and now it's a national thing. And everybody in every corner of the United States is getting the same numbers and same results all across the board. So being educated on that, for one, like you talked about profiling. And there's a new study coming out that a department near me is working on. And they're saying, with what they found with research from cases across the country, is if it's nighttime, don't even start with a left-hand search going through the house. Don't start in the living room. Go straight to the bedroom if it's nighttime. Where are people at 3 a.m? They're in bed. Like right now, it's almost 3 p.m. Where are most people in the afternoon? Are they in bed, or are they in the living room? Probably watching TV on the couch.
Yeah.
During the daytime, start with the living room or kitchen, your common areas. And there's departments I hear listen on the radio. When someone gets on scene and give the size up, they say how many cars are in the yard, or there's a car in the yard. I don't know if they use that to justify some policy they have so they can go inside. But how many cars are in the yard shouldn't matter, because I have more cars than I have drivers at my house. So there's always going to be somebody here. But there was a time when there was more drivers than there are, more cars than there are drivers at my house.
Yeah.
So you can't get complacent with, oh, there's no cars home or anything like that. So getting into searching, you have to be educated.
Yeah.
And that goes into building construction and fire behavior too, before you even get into tactics. Like, you have to understand those two things. Nobody likes taking a class because there's no hands-on things. It's boring to sit through. Those are the two most important parts of the job that you need to know, because what's going to kill you? Collapse from building construction and fire behavior, and the way fire moves through different building construction. So those are the two most important things. So as far as tactics, you've heard the phrase, there's no always and nevers in the fire service. So it kind of depends on, and part of our class, when we do our search class, we give different buildings up there. It might be a 3-story garden style apartment with 4 units on each floor. So you have 12 apartment buildings. You're going to hit that different than you are a single wide trailer down a dirt road. Yeah, but going in, the first part is we try to teach, using the tick, just to get live fire layout. Throw it up real quick, get a layout, especially in hoarder conditions. It'll show you a path to take. But so many people constantly look at the tick. Yeah, there's nobody in here. But what people fail to realize, if a body is in a room and the room's heating up, the body is also heating up with everything else in the room. So it's not going to show up on the camera always. So you still have to get in. You still have to use your hands. I don't teach using the tool to search. Take one in with you if you need it. I like leaving mine at the door, so when I get to it, I know where I'm at. But a tool cannot feel a person. And we always train in empty burned buildings or empty houses, but how many houses have you been to where they're empty on the inside?
Oh, valid point. Sometimes we aren't training in the environment that we're actually fighting in, right?
And that's something we do. I love when I can teach the search class here locally, because a neighboring department where I am, they have a house behind their fire station that they let us use, and we fully furnish this house. There's couches, beds, dressers. We have cribs, toy boxes, car seats, bouncers. So we'll go in and I'll put my little baby doll victims, and I'll put them in a bouncer, and people go in and they hit the bouncer and they just immediately throw it with the victim in there, slide it across the room, or they find a car seat. Oh, this is a car seat, and they go right past it, and they never look in it. And this is where being a parent comes into play. The ones who don't have kids don't think anything of it. But how many times when you have a baby in a car seat, they're asleep. When you get home, you leave them in the car seat while they're asleep because you don't want them to wake up.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's one of the things we do for that. And even in our burn building, we've started putting things in there. There's beds. You can go in and search an actual bed with a dresser, hoarder conditions under some heat and smoke. There's no fire in the actual room because it's against the law, but there's still fire in the building. So you're getting heat, you're getting zero visibility. So you're still searching this area.
Dude, there's realistic training, I think, is one aspect of fire service is definitely leaps and bounds behind, I should say, because we have, at least especially up here in this area, it goes to, we have to be safe, right? We need to train new firefighters in the safest way possible. But at what point does that become our new social norm where, well, we can't really train you with actual live fire in conditions because, well, it's not safe for you. Well, that's cool, but you're going to give this person a level 1 cert or level 2 in some cases, and they may have never even seen the inside of a damn burning building before. So then I can't tell you how many new firefighters or firefighters in general that I've been, fortunate enough to walk in with them, and they'll tell me, man, JP, that was way hotter than I ever remember the academy. I'm like, that's because this is the real shit. We are working our way down to the inner gates of hell right now. So it's not going to be your little fire in a oil drum or, hay and pallets stacked up in the corner in a metal container. So like, get used to it, because this is how it works. That your environment can catch on fire, whereas, in some of these cans, and again, we have to be safe. We need to be compliant with the regulations, but at some point we have to really realize in the fire service that if we want to get fully away from this risk-averse culture, we need to start having real live, legitimate things happen during real live events, because that's how we're going to learn.
There's a couple other things we do that I'll share with you, and
yeah.
Maybe somebody will listen to it and take my class and won't tell the other students, because we try to add stressors and throw
of course
things in there and surprise them. But when we do the one at the house behind the fire station, there's no fire. It's just zero visibility, because we do a crawl, walk, run method. That is our crawl and walk day. And then the last day of hands-on training is in live fire. And one thing we do is using live victims. So my oldest son, for the last few years now, he has gone with me and he's been a victim. And my youngest son, he's old enough now, I can take him, and I'll get some other people from the volunteer house. or other family members. I'm like, hey, what are you doing this Saturday? Like, you want
Sure,
to come get
sure.
drug around by some people for a few hours? So they go in and search, and they're like, oh, there's people in here. Great, well, let's get them out.
My gosh, there
So,
is.
so one, it changes their mindset because they get training scars using dummies. They drag them out any kind of way, bang them against the wall. And when you put somebody's kid in there, they make sure they're very careful with somebody's kid because they don't want their parent to get angry. And then they're more
Yeah. Oh,
careful
yeah.
with the adults because they don't want to hurt them. I was like, that's how you should be doing when you find a live victim. But we get training scars from these dummies. And
Yeah.
the other thing we do there is, and Zach that cheats with me, he works in Raleigh, and he has a costume like closet, I'll say, a costume closet. He puts on these crazy looking outfits. He'll look like your local druggie coming up to the
That's
firehouse
awesome.
and knock on the door. Nobody recognizes him, and he's like, "Hey man, I was back there lighting one up and fell asleep, and now the whole house is on fire while everybody's sitting around a table in regular clothes."
Sure. Yeah.
And another one we do is like I went to the store across the street from the firehouse and asked some random person, say, "Hey," I was like, "can I ask you a question? Like, I'm not trying to beg for money or anything." And I explained, we're teaching a class at the fire station. I want to catch them off guard. Do you
Yeah.
mind like pulling up, blaring on the horn, getting out, running up, saying, "My house is on fire. My kids are inside." So this random woman comes up and blowing a horn, screaming about her kids being trapped in a house fire, and everybody's face freaks out. And then people realize that's the start of a scenario. So then so they
That's
start
awesome.
getting dressed from the beginning, and they run out there. And another thing we do, like with the live fire stuff, is we're sitting around the firehouse or we're working out in the gym and we get a call. So we'll be in the middle of doing a PT session, and then bam, structure fire comes out. So it adds in real life
Yeah.
stressors to it. And we have, I think, 3 speakers going every time we do a training, one with really loud music, one with really loud radio traffic, and another
Hmm.
one with just some kind of noise, just to add extra noise. Like we'll find a video with chainsaws running, like somebody's cut the roof. So just to add in stressors that you're going to have in real life that people don't think about. And the newest thing we're doing on our upcoming search class, I was kind of worried about it, got some advice from people on whether or not to do it, is taking the registration list from each student and trying to find them on social media, find a picture of their loved one, whether it's a girlfriend, boyfriend, or parent or kid,
Mm.
and putting a picture of them onto the victim on the dummy. So when they get in their
Okay.
search and they pull it out and they see, oh my God, this is my
Sure.
mom, my grandma, my kid, and it kind of puts them in the mindset of treating every call like it's your own house. That's
Oh,
some of the other things we're trying out.
that's that's so cool, dude. I what it's the outside the box thinking, I think, that really is so fun because this is stuff that people sometimes don't really think of, but you're not wrong. These are stressors that we have to really think about. And woo, that's a lot here, dude. So, um, let's get to the book real quick before we really wrap things up. Again, man, love the whys. Like, what was the catalyst to get the book started and all that good stuff.
So I was at a previous department, the one I am now, and I was in a culture shock going from where I was to this other department, and things weren't like I thought they would be. People were there for a paycheck or riding out the last few years before retiring. They didn't want to go to fires. They didn't want to run any calls at all. And between that and talking with some other friends with things they were dealing with in their departments, I actually had a motorcycle accident, and I was put up at the house for about 6 months. And when they had to start putting all my thoughts down, and I've always loved writing. In high school, people used to pay me money to write their papers because I could
That's
do it in
awesome.
20 minutes. I could write a 5-page paper
Sure, sure.
for $50. So it was easy money for a high school kid.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
Putting my thoughts down and worked on it for a while, and was like, I'd love to make this like an actual book and publish it one day, but didn't
Yeah.
have a lot of like insight on how to do that. And then I was talking with Uncle Wayne, who has put out a few books now. I'm not even sure what his count is up to, and he was telling me about the avenue he took to get his books published. And so I did that. I finished up mine, did some finishing touches, send the final edits to you and a few other people to look over,
Yeah.
and then
Yep.
submitted it and got it published.
That's awesome. Where for the listeners, where can they find the book?
It is on Amazon under the Aggressive Standard.
Perfect. I'll put that in the show bio when this launches so guys can get an easier link to get to. It'll be up on the website too under the passionateleader.com. It'll be underneath your episodes, hyperlinks and all that stuff because it's a great book, guys. I can tell you that it is for me, somebody who doesn't read a ton. I should read far more than I do actually. It was a very, very good read. Kelly did a great job at making it flow nice. So it wasn't where he'd stop and be like, oh shit, where do we leave off? So it was really well written, guys. And it does really open your eyes as far as how, like Kelly said earlier, aggressive should be our standard. So that's awesome, dude. I think it's great. As we close out, so what's on the horizon for you, for Down and Dirty, anything and everything? Like what's the rest of 2026 and beyond look like for you?
It's looking like a great year so far. I'm doing a search class next week. We have the conference coming up this weekend. In March, we're doing the Aggressive Search, our class we've been doing the last few years that's gained a lot of traction and attention. We're doing that one again for the ones down south that want to go to the Metro Atlanta Firefighters Conference. Mm-hmm. It's going to be there. It's going to be great. Also at Metro Atlanta, I am doing the presentation for the Aggressive Standard, the lecture class to kind of go along with the book. In June in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, which is a free conference. If anybody wants to go to Myrtle Beach during a weekend of the summer on vacation, it's free. Just go. There's a QR code you scan when you get there. You can go sit in on every class for free. That's not a hands-on class. There's a ton of vendors there. We're doing our classroom portion of the Aggressive Search. That's in June. September, we have both the Aggressive Standard lecture class and our search class we're doing at the Women in Fire International Conference in Austin, Texas. We're doing the Aggressive Search sometime in the fall in North Carolina in Johnston County. We don't have a date set for that yet. And there's a few other places across the continent that we've been talking about. So we may be going international this year.
Nice.
Things.
All right, dude. So excited for you guys. Before I give you the last question, or our standard question before we wrap up, people want to reach out to you to get you into their firehouse or learn how you do and what you're doing. What's the best way to contact, best way to keep up with you and follow you across all the platforms?
All right. So on Facebook, Down and Dirty Fire Training with the and sign. That's our page. You can follow some messages on there. My personal Facebook, Kelly McGowan. Our email for Down and Dirty is downanddirtyfire@outlook.com. We have a website, downanddirtyfire.org, or you can reach out to me, cell phone, my number 910-850-5816.
I love it. All right. So now final question is one we give everybody, and that is, what is Kelly's unadulterated and raw piece of advice for a firefighter who's starting their leadership journey, or journey into leadership, I should say?
Set your expectations for yourself, your subordinates, and your supervisors. Set a standard, a good one. The bar for your standard can change. Never go down, always go up. Increase the standard, raise the bar, and keep the culture alive. It's the best job in the world. Don't be a bottom feeder, to use your word.
Yeah, buddy.
and just keep the good fight going.
Man, that's it. That is a mic drop if I've ever heard one. Kelly, my brother, thank you so much for joining us today on the Passionate Leader. To our listeners as well, thank you so much for spending your time with Kelly and I today. If something today hit home, don't just sit on it, share it. Follow the Passionate Leader across all platforms and pull up a chair every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on TikTok, where leadership meets the kitchen table and real talk drives real change. If you want deeper conversations and first access to exclusive offers, join our Patreon and step into the inner circle. But importantly, guys, be the kind of leader that someone else is praying for, the one you needed when you first joined the fire service. And always remember this: lead with passion, serve with humility, and leave no room for bottom feeders. Until we meet again, everybody, stay safe.